Hey there, friend. How are you feeling today? Really, how are you? Does rolling out of bed some mornings feel a little different than it used to? Maybe a few more creaks and groans accompanying that first stretch? Or perhaps you find yourself standing in the middle of the kitchen, absolutely certain you came in for something, but for the life of you, can't remember what? Oh, the joys of adding more candles to the birthday cake, right? It's a journey, this aging thing. Full of wisdom, yes, but sometimes it brings along little reminders in our bodies and minds that things are changing. A little stiffness here. Maybe the energy levels dip a bit faster than we like, or we just find ourselves thinking more consciously about staying sharp and active for all the wonderful years ahead. And in that search for ways to feel our best, to support our bodies naturally, you've probably bumped into today's star, that vibrant, beautiful golden spice turmeric. It seems like it's absolutely everywhere, doesn't it? Your health-conscious neighbor might sprinkle it on everything. Maybe you've seen those fancy golden milk lattes at the coffee shop, or perhaps you've noticed bottles of turmeric capsules lining the pharmacy shelves, promising all sorts of benefits. It feels hopeful, like maybe the simple, ancient spice holds a key to easing some of those aches, supporting our heart, keeping our minds clear, and honestly, there's good reason for that hope. Turmeric does have some truly fascinating properties, backed by centuries of use and growing scientific interest. It feels good to reach for something natural, something from the earth, doesn't it? But here's a little secret, something that often gets lost in all the excitement. Just using turmeric isn't quite the whole story, especially for us, as we navigate our 60s, 70s, and beyond. Our bodies are different now. Maybe we're managing other health conditions, or perhaps taking medications we need to be mindful of. It turns out how you use this golden spice, and crucially, what you don't combine it with, makes a world of difference. It's the difference between actually getting those wonderful benefits you're hoping for, and maybe, just maybe, not getting much benefit at all, or even accidentally causing other issues without realizing it. So, let's sit down together for a bit, shall we? Forget the quick headlines and the miracle claims. Let's really understand this beautiful spice. We're going to explore not just why it's captured everyone's attention, but the simple, practical ways to make sure it's truly working for you, safely and effectively. Think of this as our little investigation into unlocking turmeric's true potential, together, ready to really understand how this golden spice works within your body. So, when we talk about the wonders of turmeric, what are we really talking about? Is it the whole root, the powder itself? Well, yes, but there's a star player within that beautiful golden spice. Think of turmeric root like a whole, juicy orange. The orange is good for you, absolutely. But the real powerhouse, the thing everyone talks about for immunity, that's the vitamin C inside, right? Turmeric is similar. The whole spice is wonderful, but the main active compound, the one scientists get really excited about, and the one responsible for that vibrant color and many of the health benefits we hear about, is called curcumin, pronounced curcumin. Actually, it belongs to a group of compounds called curcuminoids, but curcumin is the one that gets the most attention. So, often when you hear about the health benefits of turmeric, it's really the curcumin working its magic behind the scenes. And how exactly does this curcumin work? Especially when it comes to those things that tend to creep up on us as we get older. Well, one of its biggest talents seems to be helping our bodies manage inflammation. Now, a little inflammation is normal. It's your body's way of healing an injury, like when you stub your toe. But sometimes, especially as we age, that internal inflammation system can get stuck in the on position, like a faulty fire alarm that just won't quit. Scientists call this chronic inflammation, and they believe it plays a role in so many age-related conditions, from achy joints to heart troubles. Curcumin appears to step in like a gentle moderator. It doesn't shut the whole system down, but research suggests it can interact with some of the key signals that keep that fire alarm blaring unnecessarily. It helps to bring things back into balance. Think of it as helping to calm that internal noise. And that calming effect is likely why so many people find turmeric helpful for joint comfort, particularly with osteoarthritis. Imagine that chronic inflammation constantly irritating the cartilage in your knees or hips. By helping to soothe that inflammation, curcumin might just make movement feel a little easier, a little less creaky. In fact, some interesting studies, like those you might find published in reputable journals, have suggested that for some people experiencing knee osteoarthritis, curcumin could be as helpful as some common over-the-counter pain relievers, potentially with fewer stomach upsets. Isn't that fascinating? Add emphasis, of course. It's not a replacement for medical treatment, but it's certainly a hopeful area of natural support. But the benefits don't seem to stop at our joints. What about keeping our minds sharp? Our brains are incredibly active, and over time, they face challenges like oxidative stress. You can think of that like internal rust caused by unstable molecules called free radicals. Inflammation plays a role here too. Curcumin is also a potent antioxidant, meaning it helps neutralize those rusty free radicals. By doing both, fighting inflammation and oxidative stress, it's thought to help protect our precious brain cells. Some early research even hints that curcumin might encourage something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That sounds complicated, but think of it like fertilizer for your brain cells, helping them grow and make connections, which is vital for learning and memory. Now, it's really important to be clear, this isn't a magic bullet or a cure for serious conditions like Alzheimer's disease, but focusing on supporting overall brain health, reducing that inflammation and oxidative stress, that feels like a really positive step we can take. And let's not forget our hearts. Curcumin might lend a helping hand there too, possibly by supporting the health of the lining of our blood vessels. That lining is super important for healthy blood pressure and circulation. Plus, its antioxidant action can help reduce the bad LDL cholesterol from oxidizing, which is a step in the process of plaque buildup. So you see, this humble golden spice, or rather, the curcumin within it, holds some incredible potential to support our bodies as we navigate these golden years, primarily by tackling that underlying inflammation and oxidative stress. It sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? A simple spice doing all that. Well, there's a slight catch, a little hurdle we need to overcome to actually get all this goodness into our system, where it can do its work. So, we just heard about all these wonderful ways curcumin, that star player in turmeric, might support our health, easing inflammation, helping our joints, maybe even giving our brain and heart a little boost. It sounds fantastic, almost like nature's little helper packed into a vibrant spice. But here's that little hurdle I mentioned, the golden catch, if you will. As amazing as curcumin is, it's actually quite tricky for our bodies to absorb properly on its own. It's like having a VIP guest arrive at the party, but they have trouble getting past the front door. You see, when we eat or drink turmeric, the curcumin doesn't just easily waltz into our bloodstream where it needs to go to do all that good work. Our liver and intestinal walls are very efficient, sometimes too efficient. They see curcumin coming, and they quickly break a lot of it down or change in a way that makes it easy for our body to get rid of, often before it even gets a chance to circulate widely. Scientists call this low bioavailability, which is just a fancy way of saying not much of the active stuff actually gets absorbed and used by your body. Think of it like trying to unlock a door with a key. That's the curcumin. But maybe the key is a bit slippery, or the lock, your bloodstream, is a bit stiff. Without something to help guide that key firmly into the lock, most of your attempts just don't quite work, and the door stays closed. And you know, as we gracefully navigate our years past 60, sometimes our digestive systems naturally become a little less efficient than they were in our youth. This might, for some of us, make absorbing nutrients like curcumin even more of a challenge. So what does this all mean? It means you could be diligently adding turmeric to your morning smoothie, stirring it into your soup, or even taking a basic turmeric capsule every single day. But potentially, only a tiny fraction of that beneficial curcumin is actually making it into your system to work its magic. It's a bit frustrating to think about, isn't it? Putting in the effort without getting the full reward. But please don't feel discouraged, because understanding this challenge is the first step to overcoming it. The good news is there are simple, everyday things we can do, and perhaps more importantly, things we need to stop doing that can dramatically change how well our body welcomes and utilizes this golden spice. So, knowing that our bodies need a little help welcoming that beneficial curcumin is half the battle. Now, Let's talk about the things that might actually be shutting the door, acting like saboteurs that undermine all our good intentions. And you might be surprised, these aren't strange or exotic foods. They're likely sitting in your kitchen right now. Things many of us eat every single day without a second thought. First up, let's peek into the fridge. We need to be a bit mindful of certain processed dairy products. I'm talking about things like those individually wrapped American cheese slices, those powdered coffee creamers. Yes, even the fat-free ones, many sweetened or flavored yogurts, and even bags of pre-shredded cheese that often have anti-caking agents added. Now, why these? Well, think about it. Highly processed foods often contain a cocktail of additives, preservatives, maybe gums or thickeners, and frequently hidden sugars. As we get older, our digestive systems can sometimes become more sensitive. Asking our bodies to break down all these extra ingredients can be taxing, creating a kind of internal traffic jam that makes it harder to absorb nutrients efficiently, including our friend curcumin. Plus, there's some scientific thinking that certain proteins found abundantly in dairy, like casein, might actually latch onto curcumin, potentially preventing it from being fully absorbed. It's a common slip-up. Maybe grabbing that convenient cheese slice for a quick sandwich, or thinking a flavored yogurt is a healthy snack. But when you're trying to get the most out of turmeric, these might be working against you. A smarter swap? If you enjoy creamy textures, perhaps try unsweetened almond milk or oat milk in your coffee or smoothie. If you tolerate dairy well otherwise, plain Greek yogurt offers benefits without the added sugars and fillers. Alright, moving on from the dairy aisle, what about things that often seem healthy like salads? This brings us to our second saboteur. Foods very high in vinegar or acidity, consumed at the same time as your turmeric. Think about most bottled salad dressings, especially vinaigrettes. Think about pickles, relish, maybe even ketchup or certain tangy mustards if you use a lot of them. Even recipes that call for a hefty dose of white or apple cider vinegar could pose a challenge. Here's the issue. Curcumin is a bit delicate, chemically speaking. It doesn't love highly acidic environments. When you combine it directly with something very acidic, like vinegar, the curcumin can become unstable. It might actually start to break down before your body even gets a chance to absorb it properly. It's like trying to carry water in a leaky bucket. So, that healthy salad you top with a turmeric-rich dressing, if the dressing was mostly vinegar-based from a bottle, you might have inadvertently sabotaged the curcumin. A simple fix? Try making your own dressing, a base of good quality olive oil. We'll talk more about why that's great later. A squeeze of lemon or a splash of apple cider vinegar for tang, and then whisk in your turmeric and black pepper. Or simply enjoy your pickled foods or high vinegar salads at a different meal than when you're focusing on getting your turmeric dose. Timing can make all the difference. Okay, one more major hurdle, and this one relates to something many of us find comforting, but which can really clash with turmeric's goals. Let's talk about sugary cereals, baked goods, and refined carbohydrates. That bowl of frosted flakes, the blueberry muffin from the coffee shop, maybe a slice of banana bread, cookies, pastries, even plain white bread. Why are these problematic when paired with turmeric? It comes down to that core benefit of turmeric we discussed. Fighting inflammation. Sugar, especially refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup found in so many processed foods, does the exact opposite. It's highly pro-inflammatory. It spikes your blood sugar, puts stress on your metabolism, and contributes to that chronic inflammation we're trying to calm down. So, imagine this. You take turmeric, try and put out the inflammatory fire. But at the same meal, you eat a sugary muffin that's like throwing gasoline on the embers. Your body gets completely conflicting signals. It dramatically reduces turmeric's ability to do its anti-inflammatory job. Plus, that sugar overload can mess with your digestion and hinder nutrient absorption overall. It's a common mistake, maybe finding a recipe for healthy turmeric pancakes but using white flour and syrup. The better path? If you're having turmeric, pair it with things that support its mission. Think unsweetened oatmeal with berries and nuts, whole grain toast topped with avocado, or adding it to savory dishes. If you need a touch of sweetness, a tiny amount of raw honey or pure maple syrup is a far better choice than refined sugars, and we'll explore raw honey more soon. Phew, Okay, so we've identified the common roadblocks: processed dairy, high vinegar foods, and sugary stuff. Just being aware of these pairings is a huge step. Avoiding them clears the path, allowing turmeric a much better chance to be absorbed and get to work. Now, are you ready for the really exciting part? Let's talk about the simple things you can add to actually boost its power dramatically. Alright, we've cleared the path by identifying those common foods that can get in turmeric's way. Now let's invite in the allies, the kitchen heroes that don't just step aside, but actually help carry that curcumin across the threshold and into your system. And the best part? They are incredibly simple, everyday ingredients you likely have on hand right now. Our first hero is probably sitting right there on your dining table. Black pepper. Yes, simple black pepper. It sounds almost too easy, doesn't it? But the science is truly remarkable. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine. Piperine has this amazing ability to tell a specific enzyme in our liver, one that normally breaks down curcumin very quickly, to just take a little break. By slowing down that breakdown process, piperine allows much more of the curcumin to be absorbed into your bloodstream. How much more? Get this. Studies have shown that adding just a little bit of black pepper can increase the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. 2,000%. Isn't that incredible? We're not talking about loading up your food with pepper either. Just a small pinch. About an 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper is all you need. Why freshly ground? Because the piperine content is highest right after grinding. The pre-ground stuff loses its potency over time. So, whenever you use turmeric, in your tea, on your eggs, in soups or stews, just add that little pinch of fresh pepper. It's such a tiny action for such a massive potential boost. And if you're looking at supplements, keep an eye out for piperine or the brand name BioPerine on the label. The good companies know this trick. Okay, pepper helps it get past the initial breakdown, but curcumin needs a little help at the next step too, actually getting transported into our system. What helps with that? Our second hero is healthy fats. Remember how we said curcumin is fat soluble? That means it dissolves in fat, not water. Think about trying to stir oil into water. They don't mix well, right? Curcumin is similar. It needs fat to help carry it across the lining of your gut and into your bloodstream. Fat acts like the essential taxi service for curcumin. Now, we want to choose the right kind of taxi. We're talking about good, healthy fats. Things like extra virgin olive oil, especially drizzled on after cooking, preserve its benefits. Creamy avocado or avocado oil, nuts like walnuts and almonds, seeds like chia, flax. Grind these for best results. And hemp seeds. Even fat in fatty fish like salmon or mackerel, or a little coconut oil or full-fat coconut milk can work. These fats are not only carriers for curcumin, but they're also wonderful for your heart and brain health on their own. What we don't want to do is pair turmeric with unhealthy fats like trans fats. Look for partially hydrogenated oil on labels. Avoid or rely heavily on processed vegetable oils, often used in deep frying or processed snacks. Those can actually promote inflammation, completely defeating the purpose. So, how we use this? It's easy. Blend half an avocado or a spoonful of almond butter into your turmeric smoothie. Cook your turmeric-spiced eggs in a little avocado oil or olive oil, along with that pinch of pepper. Drizzle extra virgin olive oil over your roasted vegetables after they come out of the oven with their turmeric sprinkle. Or try this fantastic, simple dressing. Whisk together some tahini, sesame paste, a drizzle of good olive oil, a squeeze of lemon juice, a little water to thin it out, your turmeric, that vital pinch of black pepper, and a tiny pinch of salt. Delicious on salads or drizzled over steamed veggies. So we have pepper to boost absorption, fat to carry it. Is there anything else that works well with turmeric? Maybe adding a little flavor and even more benefits? Our third hero might surprise you. It's raw honey. Now, emphasis on raw. We're not talking about the super clear, filtered honey often found in plastic bear-shaped bottles. That stuff has usually been heated intensely, which can destroy many of the beneficial enzymes and antioxidants. Raw honey is typically cloudier, maybe even a little crystallized. It retains its natural goodness, pollen, enzymes, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory compounds. How does it help turmeric? Well, first, it makes turmeric more palatable. especially if you're drinking it in warm water or tea. It balances the earthy flavor nicely. But more than that, raw honey brings its own gentle anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties to the party. It's naturally soothing for a sore throat, and those enzymes can be helpful for digestion too. It creates a lovely synergy with curcumin. A wonderful way to combine them is the golden spoon paste. Just mix about 1 part turmeric powder with 2 or 3 parts raw honey in a small jar. Keep it handy and take maybe half to 1 teaspoon a day. It's simple and quite pleasant. Or stir a little raw honey into your warm, not boiling hot, as high heat can damage the honey. Turmeric tea or water after it's cooled slightly. Now, a very important note about raw honey. While it's natural, it is still a form of sugar. If you have diabetes or are carefully managing your blood sugar levels, please use raw honey very sparingly. Perhaps just half a teaspoon, and be sure to monitor your glucose levels. For some, it might be best to focus on the pepper and healthy fat boosters. As always, if you have any health concerns, please discuss this with your doctor first. So there you have them, our 3 kitchen heroes. Black pepper and healthy fat are your essential dynamic duo for unlocking turmeric's potential. Raw honey, used mindfully, can be a wonderful, synergistic addition for many. Isn't it empowering to know these simple staples can make such a huge difference in how your body receives the benefits of this golden spice? Now that we know how to boost it, what about when we consider taking it in a different form? Now, we've talked about boosting turmeric in our food, which is wonderful for daily wellness. But sometimes you might hear about people taking turmeric or curcumin in capsule form. Why would someone choose a supplement? Well, often it's for convenience, or because they're seeking a higher, more concentrated dose of those active curcuminoids that might be easy to get from food alone. Perhaps for addressing a specific health goal. But stepping into the supplement aisle or browse online can feel like navigating a maze, can it? So many bottles, so many claims. How do you choose wisely and avoid wasting your money on something that might not even work? There are a few key things to look for on that label, acting like you're mapped through the maze. First, look for the word standardized. You want to see something like standardized to 95% curcuminoids. Why is this important? It tells you how much of the active compound, the curcuminoids we talked about, is actually in each capsule. If a bottle just lists milligrams of turmeric powder, you have no idea how much curcumin you're truly getting. It could be very little. Standardization ensures consistency and potency. Second, remember our chat about absorption being tricky? That applies just as much, if not more, to supplements. So, you must look for something that indicates enhanced bioavailability. We already know about piperine, often listed as bioperine. That's a great sign. But science is always evolving. So you might also see other terms related to technologies designed to help your body absorb the curcumin better. Things like phytosome technology, sometimes listed with brand names like Mariva, or perhaps terms hinting at nanoparticle or water-dispersible forms. You don't need to understand the exact science behind each one, but seeing something that addresses bioavailability is crucial. A cheap bottle of plain curcumin, without an absorption enhancer, might not give you the benefits you're paying for. Third, for peace of mind, look for third-party testing seals. These are logos from independent organizations like NSF, USP, or Consumer Lab. They indicate that the product has been tested to confirm it contains what the label says it does, and that it's free from harmful contaminants like heavy metals. It's an extra layer of quality assurance. Choosing brands that are reputable and transparent about their testing is always a smart move. Now, what about dosage? This is where it gets very individual. You'll see studies using a wide range, often anywhere from 500 milligrams up to 2,000 milligrams of curcuminoids per day, usually split into 2 doses. But please, hear me clearly on this. This is not medical advice. What works in a study or for your neighbor might not be right for you. The golden rule with supplements is always to start low, maybe with the lowest dose suggested on a bottle, and see how your body feels. And absolutely, positively, talk to your doctor or a knowledgeable healthcare provider before you start taking turmeric supplements, especially if you plan on using higher doses, or if you have any existing health conditions or are taking any medications. We need to personalize this. What's beneficial for one person could be problematic for another. It's about finding the right approach for you. It's easy to make the mistake of just grabbing the bottle with the highest milligram number or the cheapest price without checking for standardization or those crucial bioavailability enhancers. But being an informed consumer here really matters. It helps ensure you're actually getting potential benefits you seek. Okay, so we've covered how to potentially boost turmeric in our food and how to choose a supplement wisely if we go that route. But before we get carried away with all the potential goodness, we need to have a very serious, very important conversation. It's about safety. Now, we've explored the potential benefits, how to enhance absorption, even how to choose a supplement. It's easy to get excited about natural approaches like turmeric. But right here, right now, we need to pause and have a very frank conversation about safety. Because while turmeric is natural doesn't automatically mean harmless for everyone, especially when our bodies have lived a few more decades or when we're managing other health needs. This is perhaps the most important information we'll cover today. First, let's touch on side effects. For most people, using turmeric in cooking or taking moderate supplement doses doesn't cause major issues. But some individuals might experience mild digestive upset, maybe a little nausea, some diarrhea, or bloating, particularly when first starting or taking higher amounts. Occasionally, headaches or skin rash could occur. Usually, start with a very low dose and take it with food can help minimize these discomforts. But those mild effects aren't our biggest concern. What truly requires our utmost attention are potential interactions with medications. This is critical, friends. Many of us over 60 are taking medications for various conditions, and turmeric, especially concentrated curcumin supplements, can interfere with some of them in potentially dangerous ways. Number 1, and this is incredibly important, blood thinners. If you take medications like warfarin, you might know as Coumadin, clopidogrel Plavix, aspirin, even low dose, or newer ones like apixaban Eliquis or rivaroxaban Xarelto, you need to be extremely cautious. Turmeric can also have blood-thinning effects, and combining it with these medications can significantly increase your risk of bruising or serious bleeding. Please, do not start taking turmeric supplements if you are on blood thinners without talking to your doctor and getting their explicit approval and guidance. This is non-negotiable for your safety. Next, diabetes medications. If you're taking metformin, insulin, or other drugs to manage blood sugar, be aware that curcumin can also lower blood sugar levels. Taking it alongside your medication might cause your blood sugar to drop too low, a condition called hypoglycemia, which can be dangerous. You'll need to monitor your levels very closely and definitely discuss using turmeric with the doctor managing your diabetes. They may need to adjust your medication. Also, be mindful if you take stomach acid reducers like omeprazole, Prilosec, or similar medications. Interestingly, turmeric might interfere with how these drugs work, and in some people, it could even paradoxically increase stomach acid. And if you're taking iron supplements, perhaps for anemia, know that curcumin can bind to iron and potentially reduce how well your body absorbs it. It's something to discuss with your doctor if your iron levels are concerned. Beyond these specific examples, turmeric can interact with other medications too, sometimes affecting how they're processed by your liver. That long list of medications some of us have, it makes things complex. So, besides drug interactions, are there situations or conditions where using turmeric, particularly supplements, requires extra caution or should be avoided altogether? Yes, there are. If you have gallbladder problems like gallstones or a bile duct obstruction, turmeric might not be right for you as it can stimulate bile production. If you have a bleeding disorder, the blood thinning potential is a concern. Very importantly, if you have upcoming surgery planned, you should stop taking turmeric supplements at least 2 weeks beforehand to reduce any risk of increased bleeding during or after the procedure. If you have chronic acid reflux or GERD, turmeric might aggravate your symptoms. Listen to your body. And for those prone to certain types of kidney stones, be aware that turmeric contains oxalates, which could potentially contribute to stone formation in susceptible individuals at very high doses. Also, due to lack of sufficient safety data, it's best to be cautious during pregnancy and breastfeeding unless approved by your doctor. I know this might sound like a lot to remember, a lot of bewares. But please understand, this isn't meant to scare you away from turmeric entirely. It's about empowering you in knowledge so you can use it safely and responsibly. The single most important takeaway from this entire section is this. Before you start taking turmeric or curcumin supplements regularly, especially in higher doses, please talk to your doctor or your pharmacist. Bring your list of medications and supplements. Yes, all of them. Have an open conversation. They know your health history and can help you decide if turmeric is appropriate for you, at what dose, and how to monitor for any potential issues. Think of it not as a roadblock, but as smart, proactive self-care, ensuring your choices support your overall well-being. Okay, we've navigated the crucial safety considerations. Knowing this allows us to move forward mindfully. Now that we're armed with this important knowledge, how can we bring all these pieces together and actually start incorporating turmeric into our lives in a beneficial and safe way? Let's look at some simple, practical ways to do just that. Okay, we've covered some really important ground, especially regarding safety. Knowing what to watch out for allows us to move forward with confidence, doesn't it? So, now that we understand the why and the how, and the crucial what to avoid, let's explore some simple, enjoyable ways to actually bring turmeric into our daily lives, making sure we include those helpful allies, black pepper and healthy fats. A wonderful place to start, and something many people find incredibly soothing, is making your own golden milk. Forget the expensive coffee shop versions potentially loaded with sugar. Making it at home is easy and so much better for you. Here's a basic recipe. Gently warm up about a cup of your favorite unsweetened plant-based milk. Almond, oat, or coconut work beautifully in a small saucepan. Please don't boil it, just warm it through. While it's warming, whisk in about half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, maybe a quarter teaspoon of ground ginger, if you like that warmth, and that all-important pinch of freshly ground black pepper. Now, for the healthy fat, whisk in about half a teaspoon of coconut oil or a spoonful of almond butter until it melts and combines. Once it's warm and well mixed, pour it into your favorite mug. If you like a touch of sweetness and you're using raw honey, stir in just a little bit after you take it off the heat, as high temperatures can damage its delicate properties. A sprinkle of cinnamon on top is lovely too. See? Simple, nourishing, and you've included the turmeric, the pepper, and the healthy fat. It's a perfect evening wind-down drink, or a gentle start to the day. But you don't have to make a special drink. Remember that simple turmeric tahini dressing we talked about? Whisking together tahini, olive oil, lemon, water, turmeric, and pepper takes just minutes and livens up any salad or steamed vegetables. Or how about breakfast? Whisk a little turmeric and black pepper right into your scrambled eggs, then cook them in a teaspoon of avocado or olive oil. Delicious and beneficial. The key is finding easy ways to make it a daily habit. Maybe it's simply starting your day with warm water, a squeeze of lemon, a pinch of turmeric, and that vital pinch of black pepper. If you have this on an empty stomach, try to have a meal containing some healthy fat shortly after, or add just a tiny drop of olive oil to the water itself. Perhaps it's getting into the habit of stirring the turmeric pepper oil combo into your soups, stews, lentil dishes, or even rice pilafs just before serving. If you made that golden spoon paste with raw honey, and it's appropriate for you, having your small daily spoonful can be an easy routine. Or simply brewing a turmeric tea by steeping the powder or fresh grated root in hot water. Then adding your pepper, a tiny bit of coconut oil, and perhaps that touch of raw honey once it's cooled a bit. It doesn't have to be complicated. Truly, consistency is more important than quantity here. Small, regular additions, always remembering those key pairings of pepper and fat, are what help build those benefits over time in a gentle, sustainable way. These habits and recipes are wonderful starting points. But even with the best intentions, sometimes little misunderstandings or a common myth can still trip us up when it comes to using turmeric effectively. So, we got these lovely recipes and habits in mind. But you know how it is. Sometimes even with the best information, it's easy to slip back into old ways or fall for common misunderstandings. Let's just quickly highlight a few key things to remember, almost like a friendly checklist to keep in our back pocket. Perhaps the most common oversight, and honestly the easiest one to make, is simply forgetting those crucial allies, black pepper and healthy fat. We get excited about adding the turmeric. But without that pinch of pepper and that bit of oil or avocado, we're missing out on potentially huge boosts in absorption. Remember the 2,000% difference pepper can make? It's worth making an automatic habit. Turmeric always comes with its partners. Another easy trap is accidentally pairing turmeric with those saboteur foods we talked about. Stirring it into that sugary yogurt, adding it to a very vinegary dressing, or having it alongside a highly processed cheesy dish. It feels counterintuitive sometimes, but remember, those combinations can either block absorption or directly counteract the anti-inflammatory benefits we're hoping for. Keeping turmeric separate from those specific items gives it the best chance to work. Now, a mistake that moves from less effective to potentially harmful is ignoring the safety warnings and potential drug interactions. It's so tempting to think, oh, it's just a natural spice, it'll be fine. But as we discussed, especially with supplements or if you're taking certain medications like blood thinners or diabetes drugs, it's absolutely not fine to ignore these interactions. This is where being informed and talking to your doctor isn't just helpful, it's essential for your well-being. Thinking about supplements, a frequent misstep is simply buying the wrong kind, maybe grabbing the cheapest bottle or the one with the highest turmeric powder number, without checking for that crucial standardization to 95% curcuminoids or those enhanced bioavailability features like piperine or other technologies. You end up paying for something your body likely can't use effectively. A little label reading goes a long way here. There's also a common myth that more is always better. With turmeric, that's generally not true. Taking excessively high doses doesn't necessarily multiply the benefits, but it definitely increases the risk of those digestive side effects we mentioned, and potentially other issues or interactions. Stick to reasonable culinary amounts or follow sensible, doctor-approved supplement dosages. Consistency usually trumps massive doses. And finally, that persistent idea, it's natural, so I don't need to tell my doctor I'm taking it. Please, let's bust this myth right now. Your doctor needs a full picture of everything you are taking. Prescriptions, over-the-counter medicines, and supplements, including turmeric, to provide you with the best and safest care. Transparency is key to a good healthcare partnership. So, just keeping these few points in mind, always pair right, avoid the clashes, prioritize safety, choose quality, be sensible with amounts, and keep your doctor informed, can make your journey with turmeric much smoother and more effective. Now, even with all this information, sometimes specific little questions pop up, don't they? Let's tackle a few of those. Alright, we've covered a lot of ground together, from the potential benefits to the crucial safety points and practical tips. But sometimes, even after all that, a few specific little questions might pop into your head. Let's see if we can address some of the most common ones right now. A question I hear often is, can I actually take turmeric every single day? Generally speaking, using turmeric as a spice in your cooking daily is considered quite safe for most people. Think about cultures where it's a staple ingredient. When it comes to supplements, consistency is often key, but whether daily supplementation is right for you and at what dose really depends on your individual health, why you're taking it, and critically, what your doctor advises based on your whole health picture, including other medications. Remember, moderation and listening to your body are always wise. Another common one, is there a best time of day to take it? Since we know healthy fats help absorption so much, taking your turmeric or curcumin supplement with a meal that contains some fat is usually the best bet. If you're taking a supplement dose split throughout the day, having it with breakfast and dinner, for example, often works well. For culinary use, just incorporate it into your meals whenever you like. Then there's a question of fresh turmeric root versus the dried powder. Is one better? Both are great. The powder is certainly more concentrated and makes it easier to get a consistent, measurable amount, especially if you're aiming for a specific dose. Fresh turmeric root, which looks a bit like ginger but is bright orange inside, is wonderful for cooking. It adds a vibrant, slightly different flavor to dishes like curries, soups, or even smoothies. Just remember, the concentration of curcumin can vary in the fresh root, and yes, Both fresh and powdered turmeric still need those buddies, black pepper and healthy fat, to maximize absorption. So use whichever form you prefer and have access to. And here's a very practical question. Will this stuff stain everything? My friends, the answer is a resounding yes. That beautiful, vibrant orange color from the curcumin is a potent pigment. It will happily stain your countertops, your cutting boards, your clothes, your dish towels, and yes, potentially even give your fingers a temporary yellow hue. Be mindful when you're working with it. Wipe up spills immediately with soap and water. Maybe designate a specific cutting board for turmeric or wear an apron. And if you're drinking golden milk or turmeric tea regularly, giving your mouth a good rinse with water afterwards probably isn't a bad idea to help prevent potential tea staining over time. Consider a small price to pay for its goodness, but definitely handle with care. And just to quickly recap one more time, because it's fundamental. What's the difference between turmeric and curcumin again? Easy reminder. Turmeric is the name of the whole spice, the plant root. Curcumin is the main active compound found within turmeric that's responsible for most of the health benefits and that bright yellow-orange color we associate with it. Think, turmeric is the whole package. Curcumin is the star ingredient inside. Hopefully, answering those common questions helps clarify things even further. It's wonderful to be curious and seek understanding as we take charge of our health. And speaking of taking charge, and just like that, we've journeyed together through the world of turmeric, this beautiful golden spice. We started by acknowledging those little nudges our bodies give us as we age, the search for natural support, and the hope that turmeric often brings. We uncovered the star player curcumin and explored the fascinating ways it might help calm inflammation, soothe joints, and support our brain and heart health. But we also faced the golden catch, the fact that our bodies need help absorbing it. We learned to sidestep those common saboteur foods, the processed dairy, the high vinegar items, the sugary treats that can unfortunately get in the way. And more excitingly, we welcome the kitchen heroes, that essential pinch of black pepper, those wonderful healthy fats, and perhaps that touch of raw honey, which act like keys to unlock curcumin's potential. We even navigated the supplement maze and, most importantly, had that crucial conversation about safety, about listening to our bodies, and understanding potential interactions. It might feel like a lot of information, but truly, the core message is simple. Turmeric holds exciting promise, but unlocking that promise requires mindful choices. It's about understanding how to use it effectively, pairing it right, avoiding the clashes, and how to use it safely, always prioritizing your individual health needs and maintaining open communication with your healthcare team. You, my friend, now have the knowledge to make informed decisions. That's incredibly powerful. Aging isn't about fading away. It's about accumulating wisdom, and part of that wisdom is learning how to best care for the precious bodies that carry us through life. It's about taking proactive steps, however small they may seem. Maybe tomorrow morning, you'll add that pinch of black pepper to your turmeric tea. Perhaps next week, you'll try making that simple olive oil dressing instead of reaching for the bottle. Maybe you'll schedule a chat with your doctor to discuss whether a curcumin supplement could be right for you, bringing your medication list along. These small, deliberate actions done consistently are what build a foundation for lasting wellness. Be patient with yourself. Listen to your body. It often tells you what it needs. And please, always remember to partner with your trusted healthcare providers. They are essential allies on your health journey. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, for investing in your well-being. If you found this conversation helpful or learned something new, perhaps give this video a thumbs up. It really helps others find it. Feel free to share it with friends or family members who might also be curious about turmeric. And if you like more conversations like this, exploring ways to age vibrantly and healthfully, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe. Most importantly, I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments below. How do you like to use turmeric? Do you have a favorite recipe? Or perhaps a question we didn't quite cover? Let's continue the conversation. Until next time, be well, take wonderful care of yourself, and remember, your health is worth this time and effort. Cheers to your golden years shining brightly.